Hey guys, it's Friction here, Tank12, everyone call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to World of Tanks, where we are today playing the STA-2. I'm currently trying to free mark this vehicle, and it's been a bit of a journey. The first 5 games I haven't won, and they haven't really been that great. But I've had some games that were quite interesting, and this was certainly one of them. And by reading the title, you probably are asking yourselves, what kind of mistakes are you talking about? Well, this entire game is riddled with mistakes, and I'm going to show you guys all the mistakes, all of mine, obviously, as well. And this is going to show off like how frustrating this game can be. So maybe you've noticed, but the very first mistake was already in the loading screen, and that was when I was choosing the loadout and equipment. I was just like adding a second equipment slot or loadout slot where I only have AP shells and high explosive shells, no no heat shells. And I completely forget that every single time you change it, it will be the first choice equipment and loadout slot for the game. So I don't have any heat shells, and I really do need heat shells against some of these tanks. For example, a Defender or IS-6. I completely forgot that I don't have them, so I'm kind of hitting my 2 key right now, thinking if I have to pen the Defender from the front, I'll have 250mm of pen. But that does not happen, and we do not have that nice amount of pen. But what you can see right now is we're sitting in a position that allows us to stay hidden and still support our team. I'd say this is a pretty good spot. This is where we can really be of benefit to our team, of use. And you can see with the DPM we have on this tank, with the accuracy, gun handling, we're able to do some damage, and we're able to support these 2 heavy tanks that have pushed very aggressively into the Nook at D8 or D9. Still, there are a lot of tanks there. There's an IS-6, there is a UDAS, there's a Defender, there's a tank destroyer, a German tank destroyer, and what is it called again? I'll have to check. The Kanonjagdpanzer 105, and in the rear there's also, I think, an STRV S1. Now, tank destroyers in this game, they're going to be really important, and I'll tell you why, and you'll see later on in the gameplay. Now, there are only 3 of them on the enemy team, and also we only have 3 of them, so this is a very straightforward, heavy slugging match. Only a few medium tanks as well, so this is a really heavy kind of focused game. Now you can see our heavies right now are absolutely getting overrun by the Defender, the IS-6, and the UDAS. Finally, we managed to take out the UDAS, and so far we've already dealt about 1,700 damage. I feel a bit bad for these guys because I obviously could have been in there and helped them out, but the issue is I don't have a lot of HP. This tank has no armor. When I go in there, I'm more kind of a shooting target instead of a supportive vehicle. So I probably shouldn't have went in there, and it was probably the right decision, because you'll see there are some things that will happen in this game that are going to be quite interesting. Now, I would say we have a Chrysler and a M3Y who could have actually been there and supported them from the get-go, but decided to stay even behind me to assist them with by sniping. And they decided to only move in once they realized that the enemy team was pretty much wiped out. They had no more HP, and they decided to move in. Now, yeah, some of you would consider that a dick move. I myself would say it's kind of a dick move, especially when you're in a heavily armored tank like the Chrysler GF. But on the other hand, yeah, I kind of did the same thing, so maybe I'm just a hypocrite speaking right there. No mistakes so far. Maybe shooting the STRV S1 could have been a mistake right there. He might have lit us up, and then the Kanonjagdpanzer would have put one into us, probably, but that didn't end up happening. So far, so good. You can see that both sides, our team is actually the one pushing. The enemy team is the one that is just being really, really kind of defensive. and I'm just trying to get into a position where I can do some damage. Now, this tank now has 60 kilometers per hour top speed and a very good horsepower to weight ratio. That has to do with the fact that I'm also running a turbo on this vehicle. You can see right there we have an M4A1 Revalorize who is just camping the base, and we put 2 into him without getting spotted because we're trying to stay behind the bush. But this is where the game becomes very, very stale and becomes one of those big strongholds, attack and defend kind of games where we've dealt 2,878 damage, assisted only 197, but we have 440 meters of view range. That's without any optics. We just have 400 base meters view range. Oh, but we get spotted probably by the STRV S1. Worst thing happens, we get lit on fire by the Kanoniak Panzer and the AMBT. We lose about almost 2/3 of our HP. And now we're in a position where we can actually do some spotting. Now, that was mistake number 2. I should not have pushed over into the middle right here because I knew that there were tanks over there. I should have moved all the way back and moved into the middle like this. Moving into the middle by driving further into the middle from behind from our cap and not by coming in from the right or left side. Thankfully, though, we managed to knock out the Kanoniak Panzer because he wasn't hiding very well, and we finally spotted the AMBT. This AMBT is going to be a bit of a problem, and you'll see that in just a second. So, another mistake that just happened, but not on our part, but the UDAS on our team decided to move in, and also the Chrysler GF, both of them being very aggressive. They got absolutely lit up by everything that was sitting at the back. I'm talking about the AMX, the tank destroyer hiding in the back. I'm talking about the AMBT. I'm talking about the Kanoniak Panzer 105. Everyone just got eaten up, and now the game has become very much balanced out once more. We had the numbers advantage, and now it's all about who can actually push and who can push without taking too much damage. You can see we lack about 600 or 700 HP, and we only have a couple of tanks remaining. We have the M3 over there. We have the AMBT, who is now finally coming out of his hidey hole, and now I'm trying just to put some pressure on this guy because I want my team to take out this guy. He's very dangerous. But obviously, I don't take into account that there's a French tank destroyer hiding at the back, the AMX. Mistake number 3 for our part, or maybe even 4, where we are just trying to do damage and we get hit massively, and the next round that the AMBT puts into us is going to take us out. So yeah, basically mistake number 4, or already mistake number 5, you could say. So the next mistake here is not falling back. When I knew the AMBT is here, I should have maybe fell all the way back over there, but I wanted to keep this AMBT lit up so the M3 can actually put some pressure on him. Unfortunately for us, we just lose the ISU or the SU-130PM, and I know this AMBT is going to push me. This M3, on the other hand, probably didn't have any shots, and yeah, you can see we get really lucky. That was extremely lucky. The SU-101 actually manages to put a big hit into the AMBT. I hit him once, and the M3 finishes him off. He loses about 600 to 700 HP in 1 second, and we get extremely lucky. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen that, but we actually bounced a shot from the AMX. The AMX bounced our rear, I think. Unfortunately, it shows you 360 damage bounce, and it doesn't show you the one from the AMX, but it shows you just the one that I bounced from the front. But the AMX definitely bounced our rear. At the same time, while that was happening, we just lost our object 703-2, 122, and now we're in a very awkward predicament where we have an SU-101 on the field. We have 2 tanks, the Astronaut Rex, the M3Y, and the AMX going up against us, and I'm deciding to fall back. This is the first thing that I probably did right in this scenario, to fall back, not be that close, because if they do decide to move in to their cap, they will be able to knock me out without me being able to do anything because I don't have any armor on this tank. The SU-101 does the same thing. He hasn't communicated with us, and in this scenario, this would have been a bit better if we all communicated, but we didn't do that. So a very awkward kind of situation that we find ourselves in right now. We still dealt about 4k damage combined, a bit more. And right here you can see the Astron Rex and the M3, they stick together. Very smart move by them. And because I don't have any heat, I'm unable to penetrate the Astron Rex. So I have to rely on my AP shells. You can see I started with about, I'm not even sure, must have been 30 rounds or maybe even 40, and now I'm down to 13 shells remaining on this tank. The SU-101, who is now out in the middle, is basically just the punching bag for the Astron Rex. But since we have fallen back, we are now able to put some pressure on these guys. Thank God we managed to pen the Astron Rex from the side, and now it's all about this M3Y. A very dangerous tank. Very high rate of fire, 290 millimeters of penetration with the heat shells if he's using the 90 millimeter, and the SU-101 finishes him off when he comes around the corner. A bit of a bad play by the M3Y. He knew that the SU-101 is there. He knew that his Astron Rex body was just knocked out of the park. And I think this is where we kind of did it right, where we made the right decision and we did put some pressure on these two guys and managed to defend the SU-101, come out of it without any damage done, any damage taken, with at least 2 shots of damage and with 1 kill and assisting the SU-101, who is still alive. So this is a very good kind of roundup in this moment in time. But don't worry, this gameplay is not titled something along the lines of mistakes. I'm not really sure what the title is going to be exactly at this moment in time, but mistakes will still happen, and you'll see that in just a second. Now, the M3Y has a lot more HP than both the SU-101 and me. He has 1072, so in theory he should be able to survive 3 or at least 2 shots from the AMX, and the third one could possibly or probably would kill him. So the thing is, right now I want him to push up, because the last spot where the AMX was actually hiding in was at K0. Now the thing is, I think that I'm going to move up. I think I want to be the one that is distracting him if he's just looking this way, and I want to move up and I want to put some pressure on him. Turns out he's no longer there. Where has the AMX gone? The only way he could have went is with the other tanks to the west. So that means this guy could be now somewhere going towards our cap. The SU-101, even though he was on the left side of the map, at least from our viewpoint, the left side of the map, he wasn't really in a spot where he could look over the ridgeline. And he probably doesn't have the best crew to allow him to spot, because he's a tank destroyer. I don't think he has like coated optics and everything put on spotting. At least I don't expect it to be the case. So the question now is, where is this bloody AMX? I don't want to be the one that gets absolutely annihilated by him, but I'm also thinking I want to win this game, because I need the experience to get this tank upgraded fully with all the field modifications. But I make something very dumb. I'm thinking about, right now, I should probably go into a bush in the north. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, you know what, I could just cap, be on the cap right here, and put some pressure on the guy. It's only 30 seconds. Will he show up in 30 seconds? Probably not. And if he shows up, he will have to be lit up. So when he gets lit up, he's going to get fired on and he's going to die. The thing is, you know, this is one of the major mistakes I make. I should have moved up to the north into a bush, because I can see him from way, way out. So there's the AMX, we spot him, I put 1 shell past him, and turns out that shell was ironically exactly the one that was missing. The M3Y finally manages to hit him twice, does a lot of damage, but in return also gets hit. And this is where you can see where the game is going to be absolutely trash. We haven't actually gone into a place where we could have hidden ourselves, so maybe we should have stayed behind the M3Y, because we were definite one-shot. The SU-101 is hiding all the way in the rear. He's not moving, and now the M3Y has to chase down this AMX in the last couple of seconds of this dying game. So yeah, you guys know what this is going to be. This is going to be a draw because of so many mistakes, so many dumb mistakes that we have made, and that our team have also done. So this SU-101 is just now sitting on top of the hill. I was expecting the SU-101 to come over and help us cap, but he was just driving around somewhere on the map. And I should have definitely been up there in a bush to try to spot something that could come in, because he had the left side, I should have had the north, and then the M3Y could have just capped it out. We had enough time, or we might have even killed it. But now, because we also missed the shot, you know, the one essential shot that we had to hit, this thing now is running around with 50 HP. So definitely, the 703 is completely right, saying that we shouldn't have capped both of them, or not both of us should have capped, or at least we should have capped earlier, or we should have capped as a unit of 3, because then he would certainly not been able to kill us. But in this scenario, the way that it finished is just such an unsatisfying way that this game has concluded, because we've done the damage, we've survived situations that we shouldn't have survived, and in the end we still kind of give this clear victory out of hand. And the team that was defending so valiantly up until the end, I want to say valiantly, but in reality I want to say they have been camping like pussies. But you know, it's a legit strategy and it works, and I do it sometimes too. They kind of get the straw out of this game, which they shouldn't have got. A lot of mistakes, a lot of very bad situations that I should have probably... yeah, a lot of situations that I probably should have adapted to better. But still, in the end, you know, we learned from this. We almost did 5k damage combined. Yeah, for marks of excellence, at least, this is a great game. But for my psyche and for my ability, it shows that I still have a lot of things to learn, right? So hopefully you guys did enjoy this little analytic piece. If you did, as always, comment, like, and subscribe. And... yeah, tell me in the comment section below how big of an idiot I actually am, or if I did everything correct and it was the game that was screwing me over. I also take these guys. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have a good one.